Hey, Morning Star. So as I said this past weekend, on Monday, Dee Dee and Sam and I headed down to some low-income housing apartments in Bell Fountain Neighbors, which is up in North St. Louis. We were volunteering with Operation Food Search, who provides lunches for needy children throughout the summer. This is actually the same organization that we here at Morning Star work with to provide meals for the kids over at Prairie View each week. So we arrived on Monday at noon. We met the other two volunteers. We set up the tables and waited for the food to arrive. When it arrived, we followed the prescribed procedures. We put the milk in a cooler and the food in a cooler, and then we got one of each of them out and tested the temperature. They were supposed to register about 40 degrees, but both of them registered at about 58 degrees. 18 degrees above the minimum that we were to accept them. Even worse, when we opened one of the meals, we discovered that the strawberries were rotten. They were growing moldy. They were hairy berries. Yuck. So after calling the supervisor back at Operation Food Search, it was determined to not distribute the food, which was a great experience for us, right? The first time we'd gone down there and we can't even hand out the food. Even worse, obviously, was having to tell the children that the food was there, but they couldn't eat it because it was bad. I think the worst thing, though, was the fact that while the kids were disappointed, they weren't like that disappointed. My guess is that this isn't the first time that something like this has happened in their lives, where promises were made and then broken, and nobody was really held accountable because, let's face it, pure and simple, they were poor. They had no voice, they have no power. But it did anger Dee Dee and me so much that we reached out to Operation Food Search, who contacted the caterer. Come to find out, the caterer actually knew that the compressor in the refrigerator had gone on the blink over the weekend, but for whatever reason, that didn't let that stop them from serving the food. Pathetic, right? Pathetic. I mean, I stepped back and tried to imagine a scenario where I could give them the benefit of the doubt. But man, if you knew the compressor on your refrigerator had gone out, wouldn't you go over and beyond to ensure that the food that you were serving other people was safe? Absolutely you would. If you were serving a Chamber of Commerce event or maybe a party at a country club. Because they could talk, right? I mean, they could turn in a complaint with the county health department. You might even lose your license as a caterer. But a bunch of poor kids? Come on. They're going to be glad to have food to eat, even if it has begun to go a little bad. And you know what? Even if they do get sick, who's going to find out, right? Whew. Friends, perhaps this is just God priming my pump for this weekend's message on anger and wrath. And asking myself, are there times when anger can actually be a good thing? Certainly the Bible says that there are times when God has gotten angry, and who can forget Jesus, right? Turning over the money-changing tables in the temple courts. So is there a time when anger can actually result in good? Well, I'd submit that there actually can be a time that it can be used for good, if it's about not defending yourself, but helping others, particularly the poor and disenfranchised. If it's directed toward helping those who don't have the power to help themselves. This is what's called righteous indignation, and I'm praying, I'm hoping that that's what I have in my heart right now. Because as I reach out and contact this caterer, I don't want my anger to lead me to sin, but I do want to confront this person, this catering company. I want to do it in love, and I want to hold them accountable in some way for their acts of, in my opinion, taking poor kids for granted, literally making a dime on the backs of people who, can't speak for themselves. So listen, thanks for listening to my rant today. I pray that you'll be the church this week and step in ways that you can be a benefit and help to others who may not have a voice. And I'll see you in this weekend in worship, as we close in on the halfway point of our 7 Deadly Sins series with a sermon entitled Wrath. God bless you, and I'll see you this weekend.